general perspective on foreign policy. After that, my request is please raise your questions and to maximize this, to benefit from this session. At least I'm expecting 15 to 20 questions minimum from both online and offline students. Okay, so thank you. Actually, I would like to. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, Karthi, sir, please. Sir. He's our polity faculty, sir.
Oh. Oh, here you are. He's the one I explained to him. This is the camera. So you take the camera. You can give it to him. Are you start?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Vanakkam. What is the topic? International affairs, diplomatic flings, and political. You mastered it. But there are three key operative words in this: affairs, flings, and stings. So affairs and flings are more romantic, exciting. Stings, pain. So be prepared to smile and to cry. Flings and stings. International affairs these days are driven, distracted, and disrupted by US President Donald Trump, the master of political stings. And the world is responding, reacting, and scrambling around with diplomatic flings. Some of the political stings of Trump are shocking politically, painful economically, and poisonous socially, culturally, intellectually, and civilizationally. So he has imposed the tariff on India. How much? 25%. And is threatening to do more. Unreasonable, unjustified. In the case of Brazil, he has already imposed 50% tariff. More unreasonable, more unjustified. So I asked a friend of mine, a Brazilian diplomat, hey guys, how do you deal with this crazy Trump? So he told me a story. He said there was an American from Texas wearing a big cowboy hat macho guy. He came to Rio de Janeiro. You know Rio de Janeiro, nice beaches. And he met a Brazilian girl, love at first sight, and proposed marriage, married, and took her back to Houston, Texas. And after arriving there, the first evening, he called her, come, sit down. I want to explain to you the 3 rules of our marriage. The Texan rules, the cowboy rules, the American rules. So the Brazilian girl said, si, senor. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Rule number 1, I'm the boss. She says, si, senor. Yes, sir. Rule number 2, I will do whatever I like. I'll go and drink with my buddies. I'll watch football. I'll do anything. No questions. So the Brazilian girl says, si, senor. Yes, sir. No problem. Rule number 3, whenever I come home late in the night at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, there should be food ready, warm on the table. And you should be there to serve me. So the Brazilian girl says, si, senor, no problem. So then he says, now that I have explained to you the 3 American rules, you want to say something from your side? Si, senor. Yes, sir. Go ahead. She said, I have only one small Brazilian rule. What's that? You see the bedroom there? There will be sex every night at 10 o'clock, whether you are there or not. Only one small, simple rule. So the Americans can have 3 rules, but the Brazilians have only one small, simple rule. Effective, right? And we also, the Brazilian friend, he told me that a kind of philosophy, Copacabana philosophy, is, men are like birds. Between 20 and 40 years of age, they are like crows. They eat anything and everything. Between 40 and 60, they are like eagles. They choose what they want to eat. Between 60 and 80, they are like parrots. They talk more than they eat. You get it? They talk more than they eat. And above 80, they are like condor, condor bird. But this is a pun. Condor in Portuguese language means condor with pain. Pain here, condor. So the Brazilians say Trump and America, they talk more than they eat. And the Europeans are condor, a pain in the backside. So that is how they look at Trump and the political stings, and they deal with that. So the Brazilians say, well, their time has passed. And they also say that, empires are like men. They are born, grow, become powerful, decline, and die. It has happened to all the empires in the world. Roman Empire, Greek Empire, Persian Empire, Spanish Empire, Portuguese Empire, British Empire, French Empire, and now it is the turn of the American Empire also to decline and die. So imagine if Rajnikant was to talk to Donald Trump, what would he say? அப்பாவும் தாத்தாவும் வந்தார்கள் போனார்கள், நானும் ஒரு நாள் போய்விடுவேன், நீயும் ஒரு நாள் போய்விடுவாய், போடா. And he would also say, I am not in danger. I am the danger. And suppose Veerabandya Kattapamman was our prime minister, what would he say to Donald Trump? யாரை கேட்கிறாய் tariff? எதற்கு கேட்கிறாய் tariff? மாமனா மச்சானா, மானங்கெட்டவனே, வானம் பொழியுது, பூமி விளையுது, உனக்கெதற்கு கொடுப்பது tariff? We had a Punjabi writer called Khushwant Singh. You heard of him? Very popular writer, known for spicy jokes. So once he said to the boys, if you want to conquer girls, what he said, not I'm saying. If you want to conquer girls, you have to have the muscle. If you don't have the muscle, you should have the money. If you have no muscle, no money, you should write poems. Now you know why I used to write poems when I was in the college. I wanted to become a poet. So India has neither the muscle nor the money. So India should write poems. So what is the poem of Jaishankar? Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, his poem is எவ்வது உறைவது உலகம், உலகத்தோடு அவ்வது உறைவது அறிவு. Heard this? You haven't. This is the opening of his book. This one, the India Way, strategies for an uncertain world. So you open this, the first sentence there is எவ்வது உறைவது உலகம், உலகத்தோடு அவ்வது உறைவது அறிவு. Tirukkural diplomacy. I wrote a blog actually. I have a blog called Floating Wheat, blogspot.com. So I wrote this blog called Tirukkural Diplomacy, Tirukkural and Indian Diplomacy. So he draws inspiration from Tirukkural and he says we should do diplomacy in a new India way. What is this India way? Have any of you read this book? Anyway, it should be a Bible if you are interested in international affairs. What is the India way? How do we deal with this uncertain world? Very simple. It says, engage United States, reassure Russia, manage China, include Japan, keep Europe in the loop. Neighbors, be generous but firm. So he says, don't be bogged down by old mindset, old mantras, old doctrines or dogmas. Be flexible and pragmatic. Be practical and tactical, but with a clear and sharp focus on your strategic vision and goals. And have multiple alliances and multiple approaches. That is diplomatic flings. So how does this diplomatic flings compare with the Trump's political stings? Now, Jaishankar, as part of this diplomatic flings, he builds bridges between countries and peoples. And Donald Trump burns the bridges and builds walls. Jaishankar tries for win-win solutions, mutually acceptable, mutually satisfactory solutions for issues. What does Donald Trump say? I win, you lose. Simple. Jaishankar uses logic, reason, arguments, persuasion. What does Trump do? He bullies, intimidates, abuses, shouts. And Jaishankar is cool, collected, calm, friendly, pleasant, intellectual, erudite, and sophisticated. And Trump is nasty, mean, unfriendly, unpleasant, and sometimes obnoxious. But the outcome of the diplomatic flings and the political stings are not decided by the arguments or logic or reason. They are decided by power, by strength, relative power and strength. The strong do what they can. The weak must suffer what they must. So, you need diplomacy to manage this one. And you need power and strength. Now, Donald Trump has all the power at the moment, or most powers, at least military power. Now, how does this compare vis-a-vis the other powers, both emerging powers and actual powers? Let's look at that. Now, let's start with Brazil. So when Donald Trump imposed 50% tariff on Brazil, Lula did not go running to him for a meeting. He did not call him. He refused. He called Modi. He called Putin. He called the Chinese president. He refused to go for a meeting with him. How does he survive? How does he do it? Because he has got some formidable strengths and no vulnerabilities or weaknesses which can be exploited by United States and Trump. That is the reason Lula stands up to Trump. Now, what are these strengths? Can I have some water? No. First, Brazil does not have any security problems, security issues. They don't face any insecurity. They are lucky they have no Pakistan neighbors. They have no China. Unlike us. And they have no enemies. And they have no territorial disputes. They have border with 10 countries in South America, but not a single dispute. All the borders have been settled. And Brazil does not have terrorism. So they don't need anyone's support. Brazil does not have internal conflicts, religious, linguistic, ethnic, like we have. So United States cannot use these vulnerabilities like we have. Brazil doesn't have. And Brazil is not dependent upon import of oil like us. Brazil produces 3 million barrels per day. So they are an exporter. In fact, we import from Brazil. So they don't need Russian oil. So they have energy security. And they have food security. In fact, they are an agricultural superpower. They can feed another billion people. And if America removes duties on Brazilian agricultural products, the American agriculture would get wiped out. So they are so efficient in large scale farming. And Brazil has abundant mineral resources. They have rare earths, critical minerals. And lastly, Brazil is not dependent on trade with United States. China is the largest trading partner. So, President Lula can tell Trump to get lost. So he has the relative power and strength. But the only thing Brazil does not have, what? Weapons of mass destruction. But Brazil has weapons of mass distraction. Football, carnival, samba, salsa, Copacabana, Ipanema, caipirinha. It's a soft power. The Brazilians are adorable and admirable, unlike the ugly Uncle Sam, right? They have tremendous soft power. That is Brazil. Now, then we come to Russia. The Russians have faced other megalomaniacs before Trump. Napoleon, Hitler. Napoleon conquered the whole of Europe, but he thought it would be incomplete without Russia under his control. So he went into Russia, he invaded, got a massive defeat, humiliated, lost his empire. Then Hitler, he attacked Russia. And he suffered a fatal defeat over there. So the Russians tell Trump, oh, we have seen other guys, don't worry. Secondly, Russia is the country which has suffered the most casualties, deaths in the 2 world wars, First World War and Second World War. The most casualties, more than Germany or France or any other country. So they have very strong historical memory and they have the spirit of resilience. So they're not going to give it. And thirdly, you cannot bullshit the Russians. Ukraine is a proxy war. It is not about Ukraine. Basically, the Westerners, the West Europeans and the United States, they want to destabilize Russia, weaken Russia, damage Russia by encircling them with NATO. See, NATO had its reason when there was a Warsaw Pact. Now Russia is no longer a threat to anybody. They cannot eat their ICBMs. They want to eat McDonald's. They are not a threat. But the Western countries are obsessed. United States and Western Europe, they want to destabilize Russia and encircle them. Remember in 1962 when Russians put a missile in Cuba, there was almost going to be a third world war. Imagine tomorrow if Russians go and start drones from Mexico into United States. Would they like it? No. So the Russians are resisting the Western attempt to encircle them, to threaten them. It is an existential threat. So there might be ceasefire, there might be deal now, but the Russians, for them, this is an existential threat. They will not allow the Western countries to continue their conspiracy of this encircling and threatening them. They'll keep fighting back. Okay, next. Which power? China. China is not a rival or competitor to United States in international trade or manufacturing. China is superpower. America is no comparison. They can't even match them. In trade, they are the largest trading country in the world. $6 trillion. How much does America trade? $4 trillion. China is the largest exporter in the world. $3.6 trillion. How much does United States export? $2.2 trillion. How many countries are there in the world? How many? You have created more. I think it's 193. Now, out of these 193 countries, 120 countries have China as the largest trading partner. So China is an unbeatable superpower in international trade. Their strength is going to only increase in the future, while that of United States is likely to decline. Now, in manufacturing, China is the factory of the world. You can't beat them. Look at electric cars. China produces 12 million electric cars. 12 million electric cars. How much does America produce? 1 million. How much Europe produces? 2 million. Where is the comparison? If you talk about rare earths refining, 90% China controls. Critical minerals, about 80%. Batteries, cell phones, telecom equipments. They have massive monopoly. And even in traditional industry like cement and steel, China produces more than the rest of the world combined. China 30 years back didn't have high-speed trains. They got technology from Siemens and Toshiba and Alstom. Today, China has more high-speed lines than the rest of the world. And today, they have the best technology. No other European or American or Japanese company can compete with China in building these high-speed trains. So, they're a superpower. And they can hurt Trump. They can hurt America. Tomorrow, if they stop, they can stop the celebration of Christmas of Americans, or they can stop the celebration of 4th of July, Independence Day. Because over 95% of the fireworks used in the 4th of July celebrations are Chinese. And Walmart, which supplies all the stuff for Christmas celebration, over 80% of that comes from China. So China can hurt. That is why Trump is so respectful. He gives them more time. He wants to talk. And the Chinese are their last laugh. They said, okay, wait, we'll talk. Then, after Russia and China, which is the power, Europe, all power, Pandora. Now, Europeans, if you say Trump is unreasonable and illogical, the Europeans beat Trump. They started the First World War, right? It was a European war. They made it as a world war. Then they wanted to get more people killed. They started a Second World War and more people got killed. Okay? Now, after that, don't you think Europe should protect itself? Why should America, which is 7,000 miles away from Europe, should come and protect Europe, which has a death wish? They like deaths. They killed themselves, they killed other people in the First World War. Again, they did in the Second World War. And now, they haven't learned the lesson. They should protect themselves. And they say, Trump, they run around with Zelensky to Washington, D.C. It's shameful. It's pathetic. Europe should take care of itself. It is their bloody responsibility to protect themselves. Why should Americans spend money or send soldiers to protect Europe? For what? So Trump sometimes is reasonable. Why should he spend for these people? Now, then what are the other emerging powers? Germany and Japan. But Germany and Japan have been castrated. You know what I mean? After what they did in the Second World War, they cannot have an army. So they are impotent. They are voiceless. So they depend on United States. Okay. And then finally, who is the emerging power? Bharat, India. But we are only emerging, always. We are not a power yet. So if you don't have the muscle or the money, what do you do? எவ்வது அறிவது உலகம் உலகத்தோடு அவ்வது உறைவது அறிவு. So we have to rely on Thirukural and we have to rely on friend Jaishankar, the India way. I know Jaishankar. He's my batchmate. We joined the service together. And he was very well prepared, a brilliant guy. We still have WhatsApp group, we share jokes, Hmm? And I know his son, Dhruva Jaishankar. He's even more brilliant than the father. And I knew Jaishankar's father called K. Subramaniam. You heard of him? The greatest strategist of modern India, K. Subramaniam. This K. Subramaniam, he came to Karachi when I was posted as consul. I spent 3 years. I had a great time in Pakistan. I have lots of friends. Seriously. I used to smuggle whiskey to the Karachi Press Club in a brown paper. Go give it under the table to my journalist friends. And they would pour it in their Coca-Cola and drink it. And we'll have kebabs. I had lots. I was dealing with press and information. And Pakistanis, they are as good or as bad as the Indians. No difference. It's only the military and the politics. Otherwise, the people are nice. So I had lots of friends in the Karachi Press Club. And they used to come to my house, get drunk, and I used to send them in taxis. So this K. Subramaniam, when he came to Karachi, he said he wants to give a talk at the Karachi Press Club. So I told my friends, hey guys, this K. Subramaniam is. Suddenly, all the friends became enemies. So their face changed. Said, K. Subramaniam? Never. We don't like him. We hate him. He was the guy who said in 1971, Bangladesh is a historic opportunity, must cut Pakistan in two. So we don't like him. We don't want him. We hate him. So don't bring him. So I went and told K. Subramaniam, sir, if you come, you might be killed or you might be attacked. You might be prepared. He said, never mind. I'll come. So I went and told these guys, yeah, he's coming. He's going to give a talk. So he came. He gave a talk for about half an hour, but no one listened. They were all waiting for the Q&A. As soon as the Q&A opened, there were fireworks. They were shouting, screaming, attacking him. So Subramaniam looked at them and smiled and said, I will not answer each question. All of you come out with your questions. At the end, I will answer. So everyone screamed and shouted, asked unpleasant, unfriendly, nasty questions. He just kept smiling. Then, after that, it was his turn to respond. He responded in an intellectual, erudite, esoteric way. The Pakistanis did not understand anything. Because it was so high flown, so philosophical, so intellectual. So the journalists, they didn't understand anything. So that was K. Subramaniam. And Jaishankar is his son. So this K. Subramaniam, you know what he used to do during weekend? Like us, during weekend, we take the kids to theme parks, to the malls, to the beach. But K. Subramaniam was a serious guy. He used to take his kids to the library of the Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis in Delhi, because he was director of that institute. Normally, the people who become the director are bad people or mad people or sad people. No one wants to become a director of the from IAS. But he liked it, he wanted it, and he stayed. He stayed for many years as the director. So he, on weekend, he would take Jaishankar to the library of the Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis. So as a school kid, he was studying all these strategies for uncertain world. Huh? That is how he prepared himself to deal with the political stings of Donald Trump. Hmm? And you know what my father did during my weekend? He believed in உழுதுண்டு வாழ்வாரே வாழ்வார் மற்றெல்லாம் தொழுதுண்டு பின் சொல்பவர். So during weekend, I had to do plowing, cutting grass for the cattle, or take the cattle for grazing. That was my weekend. Incidentally, my uncle who brought me up was illiterate. He didn't know the Quran, although he practiced Quran in practice, but he didn't know. And not only during the weekend, even during weekdays, I had to do work in the fields in the morning before going to the school and college. So the school where I went, this is a village called Raramuttirai Kottai near Tanjore. And I did up to my 5 years of elementary school there. Then I went to another bigger village called Mariamman Kovil, 4 kilometers to the west. So I'll do all the work in the morning and go run to the school. On the way, there was a pond, take a dip and dry up and go. Okay. But I had a problem in the college. I went to Pundi Pushpam College, which was 4 kilometers to the east of Raramuttirakottai. It's in the east. So after all the work in the fields, I was always running to the college in the east facing the sun. So as soon as I reached the college in the first period, I'll sit under the fan in the front row and go to sleep. It was nice, very pleasant. I was so tired. And I developed a special technique to sleep sitting in the front bench. I slept all the first periods throughout my 4 years of college, from pre-university and BSc, all 4 years. So my friends used to sing, Tungade Tambi Tungade. பள்ளியில் தூங்கியவன் கல்வி இழந்தான். So I lost all the first periods. And I had no dream or goal to become a diplomat or ambassador, nothing like that. I didn't know. I was innocent. You know how I got to know about it? I was teaching chemistry in Pachepas College. You heard of that? The rowdiest college, right? I was teaching in Pachepas College, and a colleague of mine, during the free hours, so we would all have coffee, gossip, read newspapers. But this guy, he would sit in an extreme corner and he was reading seriously. So I went and peeped in and asked him, what are you up to? He said, oh, I'm preparing for the civil service exam. So let me have a look at it. Sada, can I also join you? I have a lot of free time. So that is how accidentally I got into preparing. And teaching is a good job, because you teach. Actually, I understood chemistry only when I started teaching, not while studying. So as a junior lecturer, I was teaching, so that is useful. So I developed confidence in speaking and I understood the subject. And so he and I wrote the exam together. Oh, lucky I got selected. So then we were called for an interview. I was thrilled to go and see Delhi, and you get free ticket. So I went to Delhi, and the first thing we did was went and saw Taj Mahal, Red Fort. You may not get another chance. Huh? And yeah, lucky I got selected. And so after my selection, so I told my friends, hey guys, I've been selected. I was 26th in Foreign Service and 32nd in IAS. So I said, I haven't met in my life anyone. I have never shaken hands of a officer. So somebody took me to the collector of Chennai, Madras those days, called Rati Vinay Jha. So I was introduced, and she asked me, what service you have been selected? I said, Foreign Service. Foreign Service? She looked at me and said, you look like a country bum. Huh? How will you fit in this high-flown diplomatic ambassadorial cocktail circuits? You will be lost. You will be like a fish out of water from Raramutra Kottai. Huh? So you made a wrong choice. So then I asked her, is there a way? Can I change it? No. Once you give the choice, that's it. And you know how I gave the choice? Out of sheer ignorance and foolishness and innocence. The prospectus, they give the service. First they put Indian Foreign Service, IAS. I just repeated it. I'm an idiot. I should join IAS because in my village I am totally useless. So I am ambassador somewhere, but they don't trust me, because I don't go in the car with the lights and flags, and I have not done anything. So they still suspect, and they don't know what the ambassador does. So I just filled up the form, what was given in the prospectus. So I was an accidental diplomat, accidental ambassador. Huh? So after joining, along with Jaishankar, we took different paths. He had his diplomatic flings in Moscow, Washington, D.C., Beijing, but I took my diplomatic flings in Rio de Janeiro, in Buenos Aires, in Caracas. Totally different paths. So mine was not international affairs. It is Latin American affairs. That's the name of a blog I have. Latin American Affairs, blogspot.com. How did I get interest in Latin American affairs? Latin America coming from Raramutra Kottai. I also didn't know. So when I was posted in New York, I used to go to Barnes and Nobles to buy books, to read books. So one day, while browsing, I saw this book called Love at the Time of Cholera. What a funny title. Combining love and cholera. So I was intrigued. So I read that. You heard of that? Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the Nobel Prize winner from Colombia. He wrote the book, Love at the Time of Cholera. It's come as a movie also. So I read, I liked it. Then I read more books of Gabriel Garcia Marquez. 100 Years of Solitude, for which he won the Nobel Prize. And then I read more Latin American authors, Isabel Allende, Mario Vargas Llosa, Carlos Fuentes. So I fell in love. So I wanted to be posted in Latin America. So they posted me in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So I reached Brazil. So in the first month of my arrival, somebody from the Rotary Club there, he came to invite me to give a talk. So I asked him, how long should I talk? That mischievous Brazilian, he looked at me and said, Mr. Consul General, your talk should be like a mini skirt. Short enough to arouse interest, but sufficiently long enough to cover the area of interest. That's when I lost my innocence. I have written a book called Malgudi to Macondo, the journey of an innocent Indian through the seductive Latin America. You understand it? Then I fell in love with Latin America. And then they taught me more. So the Latin Americans, they say they are different, unique. How? They say in an ideal world, not Donald Trump's world, in an ideal world, French should be the cooks. German should be the engineers. British should be the policemen. Swiss should be the finance managers. And Latinos as lovers. So they all have unique talents. Germans are good engineers, right? French are great cooks. So that would be an ideal world. It would be heaven, where the Latin Americans are the lovers. But the heaven will turn into hell if you reverse their roles. If the British are the cooks, horrible food. If the French are the engineers, they keep complaining. If the Germans, the Nazis or the policemen, or the Swiss are the lovers, unimaginative, boring. And if the Latinos are the finance manager, the world will go bankrupt the first day. The Latinos have no financial sense. They spend more than they earn. They spend their money and your money also. And they also said, in Latin America, we have reached an advanced level of culture and civilization. And they explained it like this. See, in the beginning of the world, there was Moses. He put his hands up. God, you are omnipotent. Without you, we are nothing. Then came King Solomon. He put his hands here. Man, use your head. Do justice. Then came Jesus. He put his hands here. Heart, love thy neighbor. Then came Karl Marx. He put his hands here. If the stomach is empty, there will be revolutions. And then came Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud. So the Latin Americans say they have reached the Freudian stage of culture and civilization. And we have to learn from them. Not this one, but how to balance their life. The philosophy is explained in a Spanish song by one of my favorite Argentine singers called Axel. The song is like this: Celebra la vida, in Spanish. Segundo a segundo, nada se guarda, todo se brinda. Celebra la vida. Of course, when he sings, it's more melodious. It means celebrate life, second to second. Don't hold anything. Give out everything. So I'm following this very seriously. Celebrating life. So when I retired from Buenos Aires, they gave me an advice. Ambassador, you are 60, but listen to our advice. Don't stop having fun when you are old. Don't stop having fun when you are old. You become old only when you stop having fun. So I follow this very, very seriously. Okay. You might think that I had all fun in Latin America. Sure, I had. I don't deny it. But I also did some work. Huh? You might get the wrong ideas. I also did some work. You know, I was one of the earliest to open Latin American market for India's exports and open up Latin America as a source and contributor for India's energy and food security. So you can't put all eggs with the Trump. You have to diversify your exports. You diversify business. This is what I did in 1996. So in those days, Indian businessmen had no idea, no interest in Latin America. I used to give lectures in Coimbatore, Tirupur, Erode, Jalandhar, Ludhiana about Latin America, educating the businessmen, encouraging them. You know how I encourage them? I would tell them, hey guys, go to Latin America. Even if you don't get business, you'll come back younger and happier. Huh? And it has paid off. I didn't stop this when I retired in 2012. I'm still doing. I do consultancy service for a Mumbai-based company called Kalpataru. You know how much project contracts they have in Latin America? About $1 billion, 8,000 crores. They have one single contract of $430 million in this little country called Chile. So this trade promotion, export promotion, diversification has developed. Today, Latin America has become an important destination for India's exports. So you might think that, oh, Latin America is too far. Cultural barriers, linguistic barriers, business practices barriers. So what is more important is our neighbors, traditional trading partners. Let me throw some numbers at you. Last year, India exported $275 million to Honduras. Small country, remote area, 20,000 kilometers away from India. $275 million was India's exports to Honduras. And you know how much is our exports to Cambodia, which is nearby, 1,000 kilometers? $201 million. Cambodia is our backyard. but Honduras is 20,000 kilometers. But we did more exports to Honduras than to the neighboring Cambodia. We exported $636 million to Guatemala, which is more than the $614 million we exported to Myanmar, next door neighbor. Last year, we exported $6.7 billion to Brazil, which is more than India's exports to Japan, $6.2 billion. It is more than India's exports to Korea, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, or Sri Lanka. Brazil is so far away. You think Japan is more important. Last year, we did $5.7 billion of exports to Mexico, which is more than our exports to Canada, Russia, or Egypt. So, Latin America is not that far away for trade. We do more trade with them, more exports than neighboring countries or traditional partners. Last year, we exported $20 billion of exports to Latin America. This can be taken to $50 billion or more if we pursue systematic exploration of exports to the region. Our people were not interested because they all were fascinated by United States and Europe, where we had incremental export, again, increase in exports. But here, it goes up exponentially. So that is exports. That is more than fun, right? Some work. And we open Latin America as a source for India's energy and food security. So when I was in Venezuela in 2000, a delegation from Reliance came. They were just setting up the refinery. Refinery was not ready yet in Jamnagar, the largest refinery in the world. And they did not want to just buy from Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. They wanted to diversify. Venezuela has the largest world's oil reserves in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. Okay? So the Reliance delegation came. I took them to President Chavez. You heard of him? Colorful guy, crazy guy. He was the president. In fact, first I wanted to go to the president of the oil company. So they didn't care very much. Indians, Reliance, they were very happy exporting to United States. 90% of their exports are going. And they were happy. They didn't want to waste time with the Indians. But I went to Chavez with Reliance. So we told him, sir, India is a growing market. We are going to import more and more. We have got a small population of only 1 billion. So we are going to increase it. We have the best technology for increasing production of people, right? No one can beat us. So we are going to need more oil. So we want to import from your country. And you see, the Americans, you can never trust them. So one day they will stab you in the back. But you can trust us because we practice yoga, meditation. So you can trust India. We are innocent people. And Chavez also realized it because he was a leftist, an extreme leftist. He was anti-American, anti-imperialist. So he also thought, okay, let us diversify. If these guys are coming to us, so let's export some. Why be over-dependent on United States? So he said, okay, we'll supply it to you But Reliance is more clever. They said, that's why they are so big. They said, sir, thank you very much. But you know, from Venezuela to India, freight is very high. It cannot compete with the oil from the Gulf. So can you give us some discount? Because we are going to import more. We are going to import long time. So can you give some discount? And he was happy. He gave the discount. And Reliance took these prices to Saudis. Hey guys, you see, this is the price I got from Venezuela. You also reduce price. It's smart business. And you know how they solve the freight problem? Reliance way, like India way. You know, these very large crude carriers called VLCCs carry 1 million barrels. They go from Saudi Arabia and Gulf to United States carrying crude oil, and they come back empty. So Reliance stopped those very large crude carriers in Caracas, filled it up, and got it delivered here. Win-win. They were also happy. That is smart business. At one time, I think 2013, we were importing $20 billion of crude oil from Venezuela. Not just Venezuela, we were importing from 5 countries: Venezuela, Brazil, Ecuador, Mexico, and Colombia. About 20% of our oil imports came from Latin America. But now, from Venezuela, we don't import anything. You know why? American sanctions. So they say, we don't like Iran, don't buy from them. We don't like Venezuela, don't buy from them. We don't like Russia, don't buy from them. Illegal. But still, we have opened up. Even now, we import from other countries. So oil we have been importing, and we need to diversify. You cannot be over dependent on this volatile Middle East. So for our strategic energy security, we need to diversify. So we, the diplomats, as part of economic diplomacy, we have opened Latin America as a source for oil imports. Not just fun. And for food security. What is food security? After crude oil and rough diamonds, the third largest import of India is edible oils. Soya oil, sunflower oil. Import about 15 million tons. And everyone likes samosa and fried stuff. So you need more oil, right? But India is always having a deficit. We always import. Where do we import from? Indonesia, Malaysia, palm oil. Palm oil is not good for health. Only the hotels and restaurants use. So you need better oil. What is better oil? Soya oil, sunflower oil. Last year, we imported $5 billion of soya oil from Argentina. Argentina is the largest exporter of soya oil in the world. Also from Brazil and from Paraguay. And also a bit sunflower oil. Earlier, we used to import sunflower oil from Ukraine, but because of the war, so we have diversified. The other food item for which India has a perpetual shortage is pulses. We always have shortage. We import about 5 million tons a year. We import from Canada, Myanmar, Turkey, Australia. So now we have started importing from Brazil and Argentina. You know, in India, politicians don't tell you because they look at only 4 years. But we have a crisis in agriculture. Every year, we lose hundreds of thousands of acres of agricultural land for urbanization, industrialization, and infrastructure work. I live in Gurgaon. which used to be mustard fields. Now I've got DLF buildings. I used to go to my village where I was born from Trichy to Alangudi Mahajanam in a bus. It would have 7, 8 stops, and the rest sugarcane and rice fields, green and pleasant. But now when I go in the bus, I don't see anything because you've got houses, commercial buildings, industries. So India is losing hundreds of thousands of acres of agricultural land to this urbanization, commercialization, and modernization. At the same time, we have serious water problem. Like in our village, we pump water because you get free electricity, and the water level keeps going down. In Punjab, it's going down. In Haryana, it's going down. So India has a problem of shrinking agricultural land and water. But look at Brazil, it's got 20% of the world's freshwater reserves are in Brazil. There are plenty of land. Thousands and they can bring another 40 million hectares of land into agriculture. They can feed another billion people. So here we have a problem with land and water, and we have shortage of pulses and edible oil. And there are plenty of water, plenty of land, and efficient agriculture. So there is a complementarity, and they contribute to our energy security. And also, now with this new energy, you need lithium, you need rare earths, you get from Latin America. The over 60% of the world's lithium reserves are in something called lithium triangle. Oh, you know everything, huh? Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. So that is going to be a source. So Latin America is emerging as an important destination for our exports and also an important source for our energy and food security. So it's not just fun. We have done some work. And it's called economic diplomacy. Well, coming back to the political stings of Donald Trump, we need not worry so much because he's not the first guy to needle India, to bully India. We have faced others. The Americans had always done that since 1947. So during the Cold War, they said either you are with us or you are against. And they called non-aligned movement as immoral. And then they went and supported Pakistani military dictatorship. They gave them arms. So when they gave arms to them, we said, they are going to use it against us, they are going to have war. They said, no, it's not for you. It is for the northern side, Russia. So we had a great minister, V.K. Krishnamenon, the famous guy. He was in the United Nations. He made the longest speech there. Indians always talk, no? Argumentative Indians. So he used to annoy the Americans. So when the Americans said, we are supplying arms to Pakistan for use in the northern borders, so Krishnamenon got up and said, I don't think America has invented a gun which can shoot only in one direction. I didn't know. Have you? And they got more angry and they gave more arms to Pakistan. In 1971, during the Bangladesh war, United States directly threatened India. They brought their navy. And they even encouraged China to attack us. So this 25%, 50% is nothing in comparison to those. We have survived them. And of course, United States is nasty with its political stings, not only to us, generally to the world. They're generous. United States, from the Cold War times onwards, from the 1945, they have been having a what I call serial wars. You see Netflix serials? Yeah, different episodes. So like that, the Americans have serials, war serials. First, there was something called war on communism. And there was something called war on drugs. And there was something called war on terrorism. Then there was something called war on corruption. Now it's trade wars, tariff war. So after a few years, they will have another war. So it's a non-stop Netflix serial. So don't worry, you will get more in future. Okay? And look at how they make fools of everyone, like the drug war. They said, oh, these Colombians and Mexicans, they are supplying drugs to United States, spoiling our people, killing our people. That is absolute bullshit. Because drugs is a demand-driven, consumer-driven business worth about $300 billion. The Mexicans and Colombians don't go and force the Americans, open your mouth, I want to put drugs in you. No, they don't do that. The Americans pay dollars, top dollars, to buy drugs illegally, enjoy it for happiness, for more fun. It is voluntary. It's not like the opium war in China, when the British literally pushed opium into China. But here, it is a demand-driven, consumer-driven business. If Mexico and Colombia doesn't give, they will go to other people. And if it is not heroin, it will be opium. If it is a fentanyl, if it is oxycontin. So this problem will continue. It is an American problem. It is not the problem of Latin America. But if you have seen the Narcos Netflix serial, you all think that the Colombians are the villains and the Americans are the heroes. That is nonsense. It is the Americans who pay dollars to get drugs to enjoy. So somebody or other going to supply. And secondly, you read about drug cartels killing, fighting in Mexico. Now Donald Trump wants to send his army and navy to shoot them. That's another nonsense, because I look at Mexico. If you want to buy a gun in Mexico, for the whole country of 110 million people, there is only one gun shop. That is in Mexico City, within the army headquarters. There is rigorous checking and investigation, extremely difficult to get license. But you go in the border between Mexico and United States, on the United States side, there are 10,000 gun shops. And not for shooting in one direction, no? And Americans sell this illegally, which is used by the cartels, and they become more powerful. So thousands and thousands of Mexicans and Colombians are killed by the American guns, which are sold openly in the border with Mexico. Now, if you say that supply side is responsible for the drug problem in America, the same logic applies to guns. You supply the guns, and they'll be killing. So if you say you stop drugs, why don't you stop guns? Americans don't talk about it. They think that we're all fools. Or we have to suffer what we must. So they're making a fool of everyone. Even economically, United States never wanted India to be a prosperous country. In the good old days. So when I was listening to Tungade Tambi Tungade, in those days, India wanted the help of Americans to start a steel mill in India to produce steel. So the Americans said, why do you want to build? You buy from us. They refused. Then we went to Russia, and they gave us 3 steel mills. In 2018, the largest steel producer in United States is an Indian, Mittal. Have you heard of Lakshmi Mittal? ArcelorMittal. He bought up all the American steel plants, and he was the largest. He made a lot of profit. Now he sold them. When I was going to school, in those days, in the school they used to give midday meals. And the midday meal was milk powder given by America and Europe as charity. And wheat. They make some kind of porridge. And they were dumping their surplus milk powder and wheat on India in the name of charity. Of course, we were hungry, we needed it, we had no other choice. And today, India is the largest producer of milk in the world. You can buy Amul cheese in American supermarkets. Thanks to Korean, the White Revolution, one man. And today we have enough wheat and we always have surplus in rice thanks to Green Revolution. Okay? So from there we have reached here. So what we need is time. So what we need is to recite Tirukkural. Wait, buy time. But what is more important threat which is emerging is China. The Chinese can be worse, and they are right next door. They can create more problems directly or through Pakistan, as they have done. So that is going to be even bigger problem. But again, I don't worry because you see, China's miracle is only a recent one. Till the 70s, the China was as poor, as backward as India. In fact, we were better off. And today, China, which is a superpower, in 1979, China was defeated by Vietnam in a war, full-fledged war. In 1979, actually, China invaded Vietnam, saying that we want to teach a lesson to you because the Vietnamese had occupied parts of Cambodia. So they said, the Chinese said, we would teach a lesson to you. They declared a war on Vietnam and they got beaten very badly by Vietnam. 1979. Now they're big. And till the 80s, China was backward. So, but they opened up and they had a head start. They are ahead of us. So, I believe in you. When you become ambassadors, you tell Donald Trump, get lost. So, time is on our side. So, we don't have to worry. We have to be prepared, but we don't have to worry. When I joined the Foreign Service in those days, there used to be a story there was the Brazilian president called Fernando Henrique Cardoso and Russian president Gorbachev and Indian Prime Minister Narasimha Rao. In the 1990s, they wanted to develop their countries, and so they went to God. Who else? So they went to God. First, it was the turn of the Brazilian president, Cardoso. He said, God, we used to be military dictatorship, we used to have political crisis, economic chaos. Now we have become a decent place. So we want to, develop and make in Brazil as a first world country. I want to do it during my term, 4 years. Please help me. God said, yeah, sure, it is possible, but not during your term. It will take another 40 years. So Fernando Henrique Cardoso started crying, the Brazilian president. Then it was the turn of the Russian president, Gorbachev. Gorbachev said, God, we created history from communism into capitalism, free market. So historic change for the world. So I want to see my mother Russia as equal to United States in prosperity during my term of 5 years. Please help me. God looked at him. Sorry, Gorbachev. It will take another generation of people for Russia to become prosperous and equal to United States. So not possible during your term of 5 years. So Gorbachev started crying. Then it was the turn of Narasimha Rao. But before Narasimha Rao opened his mouth, God started crying. He said, Mr. Rao, I know what you are going to ask, but that is not possible during my term. Not during my term. Huh? But now, in 2025, yeah, a guy from TCS, he sends a WhatsApp message to God. God, I want to talk to you. So God says, your prime minister spoke to me. I told him, I can't help India. So what do you want to, what help do you need? So this young guy says, God, I don't need your help. I want to help you. Why don't you outsource your work? TCS will do it 1/3 of the cost more efficiently. You can go to the beach and relax. Huh? That is the new India. Have you read this book by Tom Friedman called The World is Flat? In that, he tells a story. In the olden days, when I was in the 6th standard, so the American parents during dinner time tell their kids, kid, finish your food, don't waste. Think of these millions of Indian kids going hungry. So don't waste the food, finish your food. But now, the American parents, during the dinner time, they tell their kids, kids, finish your homework before dinner. Otherwise, the Indian kids would take your work. So, I'm optimistic because of the new generation. Thank you very much. And questions. Okay. What's the time now? What's the time? Now it's 12:45. Okay. 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 It's open to Q&A. You can ask serious questions as well as fun questions. Oh, I can't read it. Oh, yeah. Or can I see it in the computer here? Or monitor? Anyway, in the meanwhile, please. Louder. Keep it closer and.
The objective of creating a global order is the institutions that we've established so far. The steady goal that we keep intending to reach, but in terms of American superpower nations like America, it just gets shattered and it tends to become very ineffective. So even if we keep trying to have that goal that we keep trying to achieve, like setting a global standard, we're not able to achieve it through, like you said, like the political flings, the diplomatic flings that we have that gets reattached, we lose it, gets reattached again. But through all these efforts, isn't it really tiring to not have a established setup at the end, like not to reach anywhere to the goal? Like when you're trying to get to the goal, you get pushed back through like many American policies or any superpower and stuff. So what is it on that?
Yes, very intelligent question. No one is going to open the door for you. Please become member of the UN Permanent Security Council. You kick the door open. Okay? Or you bomb the place. Kill the guys. We got independence because of the Second World War. The British were so damaged. They couldn't manage. They gave us. If it was not for the Second World War, still we would have continued as the British colony. So unless the old order is disrupted, destroyed, either by themselves or by us, you will not join the top table. But it happens, like it happened to all the empires. In fact, we should be thankful to Trump because you see, the Western world had been united to screw countries, the countries like India. But now he is screwing them. He is imposing tariffs on his allies as well as others. So he is creating disorder. He is disrupting the order. Now the Europeans will never ever trust United States. The Japanese would never trust. The whole world would never trust. So this accelerates the decline and death of United States. It's the best news for India. Huh? So, that's how the mafias work. You kill the top guy, only then you become the leader. Huh? So you give them a chance to kill themselves. Yeah, please.
Other question.
Ah. Okay.
For the newspaper, there's always this topic of non-alliance and how it affects it in the long run. So, I mean, like India's stand has always been non-alliance and dialogue and diplomacy, but how far do you think it would work in terms of the Iran war ended quickly, so we do not have to choose a side. But in some cases, we have to take a stand aligned with a particular side. So,
Yeah, that's what I said, the India way. No old mantras or dogmas. Flexibility, pragmatism, tactical and practical, multiple alliances and multiple approaches. You see, India had been in the sidelines. These guys were playing the games. Okay? We were spectators. They were saying, oh, you be my fan or you are the fan of the other side. So you were not given a choice. You had to be in this camp or that camp. Now we tell them, hey guys, we want to play. Whose side? Our side. We want to be a player. We don't want to be a spectator any longer. Okay? And we are not going to be a fan or supporter. We are going to do it our way, India way, Tirukkural way. You better read Tirukkural. So, our aim is not to join anyone. We will tactically join with China in BRICS, United States in Quad. That is the diplomatic flings. But at the end of the day, we want to be our own boss. We want to do it our way, and we don't want to be in anyone's camp. We want to be in our own camp. That's the ultimate aim.
There is a question online, sir.
Okay. I can read here?
Yes.
You read the question? It says, when Trump imposed tariff on us, we should ban WhatsApp, Google, and Facebook, and so that we build our own websites, good engineers, and so on. Yeah, why not? But the thing is, look at this way. How did Japan develop? They were close to the world. The Americans went and pushed the door and opened them to sell goods to them, to open up the market. Then the Japanese said, okay. And then they overtook United States in the production of cars, electronics. They took their technology, they took their money, they took their side. How did the Chinese develop? Till the 80s, they didn't have high-speed trains. They were 100% dependent on European, Japanese, and American technology. Today, they have developed their own technology. So, we have to be smart. We don't stop Facebook or the thing. We will ask them to set up global capability centers in India, research and development, and take over. We'll produce more Satya, Nadella, and Sundar Pichai and take over America. So we shouldn't be openly fighting. We should be smart. We should learn from the Chinese. The Chinese have become the dominant trader, industry, and manufacturing only because of the American and European and Japanese companies. Till these companies went in, they were nothing. They were as bad as us. So they learned from them, they absorbed their technologies, they assimilated their management practices, improvised, innovated. Now they become leader. So we shouldn't say no to China. You should come. And we took over like they did. So that should be the approach. Yep.
In response to the Ukraine war. When the Ukraine war broke out a couple of years ago, India's stance from then till now has been that we stand on the side of peace and that we're not taking sides openly. And recently, after Operation Sindoor, there's been a lot of criticism that India's operation has not been supported universally or by the rest of the United States. And recently, a couple of months ago, Mr. Jaishankar had said in a press conference that Europe's problems are not the world's problems when it came to.
Yeah.
So, my question is, the same sentence can be used back against India, right? That India's problems are not the world's problems by the United States. It's set back for lack of support to operations. And what would be your response on local?
I agree with you, not with the Jaishankar. You see, this is a contradictory approach by India. See, we tell the world, don't come and interfere. Donald Trump, keep away from India, Pakistan. We solve everything bilaterally. And then we send MPs delegations to 20 countries in the world, going and crying on their shoulders. The Pakistanis are causing terrorism. They're killing us. Please support us. What nonsense is this? They're just laughing at us. Huh? No one is going to help you with the terrorism. It is an internal problem. You have to solve it. On the other hand, people are happy when you have this problem. Then you go running to them. So you go to the French, they say, you want support? Okay, buy some Rafale jets from us. Huh? You go to the Brits, they say, buy something from us. So they use it as a leverage. So it is absolutely foolish to go and tell the world about your Pakistan problem or terrorism problem. And also you damage your own image because you say you are an emerging power. But when you go and complain, if you go and complain to the world about China or Russia, it's okay. But a small country like Pakistan, saying that, oh, they are hitting us, you make a fool of yourself. I agree with you, not with Jaishankar.
It's been going on October 20. Nobody has got solution for the opportunity Israel Palestine conflict. And there's been talk of the two-state solution. My question to you is, do you think it is actually possible? Because today, more than ever, it seems a highly outlandish dream, a dream of Palestine. So no Arab countries are putting their foot forward in support of a Palestine state. And US has firmly supported Israel and will continue to do so. Europe, like you said, is dependent on the United States. So what is the solution to the Palestine?
Can I tell you something? You can, it's very undiplomatic. It's because Hitler did not complete his solution. He tried for a solution, but he didn't complete it. That's why we have a problem now. You know, the atrocities committed by Nazis, killing the Jews, the whole world is crying, still crying. But what the Israelis do to the Gaza population, it is even worse. They just bomb, destroy hospitals, kill children. It's absolutely unpardonable, absolutely unjustifiable. It is worse than what Hitler did. So now people say, Hitler was right. And the thing is, it's not going to stop. They will continue to do with impunity because the Americans are behind them. America does not have the State Department does not run the Israel policy. It's run by Israel. They are such a powerful lobby. It's a pity the whole world is impotent and we can't do anything. And then they say, oh, people are dying, getting killed in Ukraine. What nonsense is that? There, every day, what? 2 people or 5 people get killed. Here, thousands of people are bombed from the top. It is absolutely atrocious. But the only thing is, you never know. Like, there have been other things in the past. So, every Palestinian will become a terrorist. Have they lost everything? They have nothing more to lose. You never know. Israel will never ever be safe.
Alternate questions.
In which year you came to the service, sir? 1977. Recently, there have been more articles that India is not taking a stance in geopolitics and suggest to re-look into our foreign policy. What is your point of view, sir? Well, I said it's, I believe in Tirukkural, I believe in the India way.
You came up, I had this happened recently in our neighborhood in Pakistan. There has been the Baloch rebel issue going on. The Baloch rebel issue has been going on for some time, and it kind of peaked during Operation Sindhu. The Baloch rebel leader Mir Baloch actually appealed to India both for support and to raise the Baloch cause in the United Nations as well. India being the first non-Muslim nation to actually raise the Palestinian cause in the United Nations on the global front, what should be India's stand regarding the Baloch rebel issue?
Balochistan. Now, this is another one of those Indian illusions. We believe too much in ourselves. We also try to make a fool of the world. We try. I had lived it, as I said, in Karachi. I had met Baluchi separatists. And the thing is, what the Baluchi separatists or terrorists can do is like mosquito bites. It's not like Pahalgam. It's not like the parliamentary attack. It's not like the Mumbai attack, which can shake the foundations of India. In Balochistan, there's a train attack, 100 people get, okay, mosquitoes. It is not shattering the foundation of Pakistan. It is a manageable problem. It's a controllable problem. It's a minor nuisance. Okay? So you are not going to cause great instability for Pakistan. And it is not a serious issue at all. It's only in Indian press it is serious. So this is a non-issue. Baluchi separatism or independence or terrorism will never pose a serious threat to Pakistan. Never, never. So let us not waste time talking about Balochistan. Yeah? Oh, I take one from here. What's that? If global South come out of UN altogether, forming our own such organization, if they don't change the structure of UN, will it work, or we should keep up with the diplomacy to convince P5 to get permanent seat? I told you, no one is going to open doors and welcome you into the UN Security Council. And if you form your own global South, it's okay. It's, you should do it for fun, and we should do it for brownie points to moralistic stand. But the thing is, the real hard power. You have to, that's what Mao said in China. Hide your weakness, bide your time. Hide your weakness and bide your time. We expose our weakness, going and telling everyone terrorism. In every foreign minister's visit, there is talk about terrorism. Who? Ecuador, do they care about terrorism? Brazil, do they care about terrorism? We go and, when the Brazilian foreign minister comes, we say that, oh, Brazil supported India's stand against terrorism. Sense, you're dragging the whole world. So so this global south, it's okay, it's good. We must cultivate and we must use our soft power. We must get support. But even if, say, all the 100 and say 30 global south countries say we want to make India as the member of the Permanent Security Council, nothing will happen. So, but we should keep up the show. We should keep up appearances. We should take stands. We should have principles. But we should not get carried away by this. Yeah. Yeah, please. Sorry. Oh, you're okay.
My question is, what is the relevance of World Trade Organization and say any International Court of Justice in handling the issues between states? For example, Trump has imposed 20% tariff, but WTO had done nothing. So
Yeah, that's the game they play. You see, WTO is organized to round up all these global south, to open up their markets and say, these are the rules you should follow. And then when we say, oh, we should impose these rules on you, they said, get out of here. So they let WTO die after achieving their objectives of opening the market. When this International Criminal Court was formed, I was in the mission to the United Nations those times. So the Americans came with this idea, we should have an International Criminal Court. We were scared. We thought, our generals in the Kashmir, they might be caught for human rights violations. So we were lobbying against the formation of the court. Okay? But they formed it. And they use it against Africans, Asians, and East Europeans, not against white Americans or West Europeans. No, it is to try you guys, not us. And when the International Criminal Court, the prosecutor talked about the human rights violations in Afghanistan and Iraq, they imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court. Now, International Criminal Court made some noise about Gaza and Israel, and the Americans are going after them. And they are not part of International Criminal Court. They formed it to punish other people. Now, United States has not ratified the treaty of membership of International Criminal Court. So it is for other people. So all these organizations, like even UN, that 5-member United Nations Security Council, now remember once China did not exist before 1975 or something like that. There was a country called Taiwan. Taiwan was a member of United Nations. Taiwan was a member of a permanent member of the UN Security Council. And we, moralistic, principled, Nehru, he was making noise, oh, China is a great country, civilization. They should be allowed into the United Nations. The Americans said, what nonsense, get lost. Okay? So till 72 or so, China did not exist as a country. The Americans told everyone there is only Taiwan. And they are a powerful permanent member of the Security Council. One day, they made a deal through Pakistan. Nixon made Mogo, and then the next day, they said there is no Taiwan, there is only China. And they forced everyone else to recognize this one China policy. What is one China policy? There's only one China, and Taiwan is part of that. Okay? Now, if you say Taiwan is part of China, China can take it over, right? Right? You say Kashmir is part of India, so you take over, you control. So if the whole world, except some 14 countries like Paraguay. They don't recognize China. They recognize Taiwan for money. They get money. So if the United Nations, US, India, everyone says there is only one China. Taiwan is not a country. It is part of China. So what is wrong for in China taking over Taiwan? So the Americans say, no, we will defend Taiwan because they want to sell arms to them. Huh? So it's absolutely hypocritical, making a fool out of everyone. And we also join this one. How can you say if a country is part of China and they can take it anytime, but the Chinese are not in a hurry. They will take it when more semiconductor chips are made by Taiwan, when it becomes more powerful, more prosperous, they will just take over. And when they take over, no one is going to shed any blood to go and defend Taiwan. Americans are not going to send their naval ships or soldiers to defend Taiwan. Just like they let down South Vietnam. South Vietnam, they said, great democracy, fighting against North Vietnamese communism. We are going to defend them. And then when the North Vietnamese came running to South Vietnam, taking over, the Americans ambassador and the others had to escape through helicopter from the terrace of the embassy. They just let them down. The Americans supported Shah of Iran. And they even did a coup to bring him back. And then when he was finally overthrown, he was just left to the dogs. They wouldn't even let him enter United States. So this is what in Latin America they call as the magical realism. So you blur the reality with the fantasy. So all these WTO, the Criminal Court, UN, these are all organizations to serve the goals of the powerful countries, to keep out others. Like look at NPT, what nonsense is that? You say we had made the nuclear bombs, so others cannot have. And they make you feel as though you have done something wrong, you are a criminal, trying to make a bomb. And when someone has a bomb, like North Korean, they are careful. They don't go near them. They don't go like Iraq or Syria. And Israel says they have a bomb. They can do anything. They get away with it. Pakistan says we also have a bomb. Okay? And they say NPT, which is absolutely iniquitous, making a fool of everyone. So we have to find our own way to become a player and play the game. Till then we talk nice, we recite Tirukkural. Okay? Sorry. One moment, somebody wanted from that side, please.
So what lessons should be myopic countries so that they should reflect in their economic policy?
Venezuela did not burn itself to ashes. The Americans set it on fire. Americans put severe economic sanctions on Venezuela to prevent it from production, exports, which is illegal, which is criminal, it is not supported by UN. But they got away with it. And not only that, the biggest obstacle for democracy, free and fair elections in Venezuela, the reason why it is not happening is because of United States. You know why? United States has announced a bounty of $50 million on the head of the president of Venezuela called Maduro. They say if anyone gives information leading to the arrest of Maduro, they will get $50 million. What nonsense is? Everyone knows where he is. And the Trump's envoy went to him 2 months back and got some American prisoners. But in 21st century, announcing bounty on the head of the president of another country, it is atrocious. Huh? And not only on his head, his vice president, his chief of armed forces, the constitutional court, the election officials. There are over about 2-3 dozen. The total amount of bounty is over $200 million. Now, these are the ruling people. And the Americans say, oh, they are involved in drugs, it's all nonsense. Now, after this, why do you think Maduro will hold free and fair elections and hand over power to his opponent, who will hand him over to the American FBI for jailing? Why would he commit suicide? Huh? It doesn't make sense, right? People want to live, they don't want to die. So the Venezuelan president, vice president, the head of the assembly, the armed force chief, the judges, they don't want to die in American jail. So they don't want to hold free elections. Because the opponents are all pro-Americans. So why would they commit suicide? So Venezuela has been set on fire and buried their democracy by United States. I don't think that I'm sort of anti-American. Please. No, these are all, like I said about Pakistan. The Pakistanis are as good or as bad as we are. America is a great country. It's a great country of inspiration. It has done lots of good things. But the American government, in its external policy and in some of the internal policies, they have these flaws, like everyone has. But the thing is, you and I have flaws. It only affects us. But when they have flaws, countries get devastated. Vietnam, Iraq, Syria, Libya. I was posted in Libya. And poor Gaddafi got killed. So they, when they make wrong judgment, make a mistake, it becomes a mistake for the whole world. So I'm not anti-American. Yeah, what's that? Let me educate you on that. You see, Venezuela was the largest oil exporter in the 1920s and 30s. Largest. Because America was consuming, but Venezuela was exporting. And they had some brilliant people, engineers as well as policy ministers. So they had developed the expertise to deal with big multinational oil companies, to get more out of them and bargain with them. So these guys, they went to Saudi Arabia, they went to Kuwait and UAE and gave them the secrets, how to negotiate and get a better deal from the multinational oil companies, basically British and American oil companies. So it was the Venezuelans who taught these Arabs, and they were one of the co-founders of OPEC. Venezuela was a co-founder, okay? And the Venezuelan oil company was also run very efficiently, but that got destroyed because of mainly American sanctions and then the collateral damage of internal mismanagement. And so they, the Arabs, they had learned already. The Venezuelans had taught them. Now they are using it. So now the Saudis and the UAE and Qatar, Qatar gives $400 million worth of plane to Trump and says, you do this. So they have learned. Yeah. Against? It doesn't matter. You say that America should not have sanctions on Venezuela. No one listens to it, and the Americans don't care for it. So you're saying it means nothing. So why waste your words? Somebody from here wanted? Okay, I'll leave it to you. Okay.
Ask how and when did you learn languages like Spanish and Portuguese, and how important do you think it is for foreign service aspirants to learn foreign languages?
It's always good to learn other languages, both Indian and foreign. So, Te Madura Tamil Rosai, something like that, right? So, we should propagate Tamil, but we should learn other languages, Indian, Hindi, and Telugu or Kannada and foreign languages. But foreign service is useful. But so that is why they have, when you join the service, the first posting is to learn the language. So I was posted to Portugal to learn Portuguese. So I learned Portuguese. So there are many, but some people follow it up. Like we have some formidable Chinese experts who speak Chinese. There's a guy from Tamil Nadu who translated some Chinese book into Tamil. I forget his name. So we have language experts, Chinese, Arabic, Russian, like Jaishankar speaks Russian. Russian was his language. So you have to first learn a language and pass the exam. And thereafter, like I learned Portuguese, then I forgot about it because after learning Portuguese, they posted me to Pakistan, to Libya, to Mauritius. The government policy also sometimes, how the government works. Like for example, Hardeep Puri, who is the oil minister, is from the foreign service. He speaks Japanese. And there's a guy called H.K. Singh, his batchmate, who speaks Portuguese. And guess what? They posted this Portuguese speaking H.K. Singh to Japan and posted this Japanese speaking Hardeep Singh to Brazil. That's how our government works. So I forgot about Portuguese, but then when I went to Brazil, I picked up, it opens more doors. I enjoyed the language. And then Spanish I learned on my own. And they are easy languages. It's not difficult like Japanese or Arabic or Korean and so on. But we should learn as many languages. Like, you see, if you say China is so successful, it is not only because of the money and the technology, it is the system. Like, for example, China has over 60 centers for study of Latin America in their universities. 60 centers where they teach Spanish, they teach Portuguese, and they do academic, economic, sociological studies. They have exchange programs, seriously. So you go to any Chinese embassy in Latin America, every Chinese diplomat will speak the local language, Spanish or Portuguese. But if you went to Hardeep Singh in Brazil, he would speak Japanese. So the Chinese have, systematically worked on this. In India, you know how many Latin America study centers are there? It is, if we put all of them together, maybe 3/4. In Jawaharlal Nehru University, there is a center for study of Canada, Europe, and Latin America. So 1/3. In Jindal University, OP Jindal University, they have Center for African and Latin America Studies, half. The only place where you have a full-fledged Center for Latin America Studies is in Kerala, Kerala University in Trivandrum. And they did it not for study, but to sing about Cuba and Chavez, the communist government. So they have financed this one. And so they've just got one professor who knows something, but at least some beginning. So if you say, oh, the Chinese are doing so much of business in Latin America because all their diplomats speak the local language, the businessmen speak, they have so many interpreters. But in India, we need more Latin America study centers, more institutions to teach Spanish and Portuguese. That is how you become a great power. Not just saying that, oh, you want to become a member of the Security Council. You have to prepare yourself. Yep. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
How do developing countries or the global north view India as a leader of global south?
You want a frank opinion? Or a diplomatic one? You see, when I went to Latin America, they used to have a joke about Indians. They say, how do you make an Indian laugh on a Friday? How do you make an Indian laugh on a Friday? So you tell him a joke on Monday. You tell him a joke on Monday because he would need 5 working days to understand, analyze, debate, and then finally decide to laugh. Okay? So that was the impression. And the Latin Americans also used to say that you cannot say accurately and exactly the rate of Latin American inflation or Indian population. Because by the time you finish the sentence, Indians would have increased by another 1,000. So we are slow in laughing for a joke, but very fast in reproduction. Okay, so that was the perception. But now it's changing. You see, when I went to United States for the first time in 1992, people asked, what's your name? I said, Vishwanathan. So I said, it's too long. Can you call you as Vish? Okay. But now when my son, what's your name? Raja Vishwanathan. Are you IT guy? Okay. So the perception has changed. So now they think that Indians have something here. So if you don't finish your homework, they will take over Google, they will take over Microsoft. There is fear. So the image is changing. It is changing again. So that's why you should not fight the West. You should manage, learn from them, and take over. And you know how we got this new image of our IT power? Because of the millennium virus. So around 2000, 1990s, people said, no, there's going to be this virus. We need lots of people to solve. So lots of thousands of Indians went to America to set the computers. And that's how it opened the gate. And today we have become a kind of IT power. And also, generally, like for example, even in pharmaceuticals, now India is known as the kind of pharmacy of the world. We export about $25 billion, but the largest market which buys Indian generic medicines is United States. We export over $5 billion to United States. And the Indian pharmaceutical companies are doing very well. So the image is changing now. Yep.
Indian diplomats in the UN in particular, that among all the countries as permanent representatives in the United Nations, Indian delegation had the least number, and that compared to diplomats from Russia or America, who are more in power, Indian diplomats are doing this. For example, in the UPSC every year, 530 people elected into the IFSFA. Why this small number compared to others?
Simple. India has a very small population. Huh? Brazil has 2,000 diplomats, India has about 800. So you have to plan, you have to increase. So now they increase. When I joined, it was 18. And some years there were only 12 or something like that. Small vision. But now they have realized, but still we need more. Yeah, sure.
So what do you think that the consequence will be when we stop the import and export from US? When we stop the import from US, what will be the consequence we'll face?
You see, no country can stop the imports and exports. We need them, they need us. It's good. If we play the game, you see, in a game, somebody is going to win, somebody is going to lose. And you don't say that, no, I might lose, so I don't want to play. No. You have tennis championship, yeah, 100 people play, only one guy becomes the top one. The other guys know that they are going to lose, but still they play. Have you read the interview of Federer? Roger Federer, the great champion, he says in his whole career, he has the rate of his success was only 54%. So other 46% he had lost. But still he emerged as a winner. So you should not say we'll stop the imports exports. We also play the game. We continue, but we do it smartly, like they are doing it. Okay? Okay, thank you very much. All the best, and I hope some of you join the foreign service and have fun.